What is up, guys? It is your boy Defness45, and I am back with my MLB DFS early slate picks for DraftKings. Saturday, it is May 4th. So let's get into it here real quick. I'm going to share this real quick, and then I will start diving in. Some of my people on Twitter can catch up with me here if they want to pop in. 1 second here, and then we'll get into it. One more second. Alright, with further ado, let's get into it. So, I did a couple crunches, did a couple things. I just got back. I really haven't had a lot of time to look at this, but I will tell you that stacks and teams I'm going to be looking at are going to be Cleveland, Detroit, and Seattle in the early slates, right? We got 4 games, so we got St. Louis at Chicago, we got Seattle at Cleveland, we have KC at Detroit, and we got Atlanta at Miami, right? Pitching options we have in this early slate are Carrasco for Cleveland against Seattle, Darvish, Chicago versus St. Louis, Soroka, who is one of my favorite pitchers today, Atlanta against Miami, Wacha, Seattle against Chicago away. Richards, who I don't mind against Atlanta, but it's risky. Leak against Cleveland, which I will not be on. Tyler Ross, who I do like against KC, and Homer Bailey. They homer against Mr. Bailey, Detroit. What's up, balls? Appreciate you joining, my man. A lot of people watch this later. Couple things I want to discuss, too, before I dive into this too much. Let a couple more people get in as I continue to try to help people that are newer to playing, especially MLB DFS. I talk a lot about... How's the volume, by the way? Is it okay? Can you hear me good? Just want to make sure the mic's good. Otherwise, I can move it or turn it up some. But as we're building our lineups, I talk a lot about going against the field, playing against the chalk, going against what the popular guys would be, right? Because that's where we get our leverage. And again, certain guys are popular because they're in very good spots. But again, I always say this, 80% of the time, players don't even hit what they're projected. And in a pitcher's case, if he is off, he could be the best pitcher on the slate. If he is off and a team's bats go off, that's where we gain that leverage, playing those bats against that pitcher who is highly owned. Now you see how much leverage we just gain in the field, okay? Another thing I wanted to bring up that I haven't discussed yet much in MLB DFS is do not be afraid to hedge against a pitcher you may have in your lineup, okay? Because when you're picking your pitchers, you should be picking your pitchers not for necessarily wins, but for strikeouts. Pitchers that are going to get those strikeouts, because the strikeouts are what going to get you the points. That's what we're really looking for. Hey, if we get a win, that's a plus. But we don't care if there's some runs scored against our pitcher, in a sense. If it comes out where you're building your lineup and your last best player, it's outfield or whatever position it is, happens to be against your pitcher, one of your pitchers you have, don't be afraid. Now, I'm not saying all my lineups are always like that, but sometimes you have to get unique, and sometimes that's what wins. Guys like Osimo, he talks about it a lot. He's not afraid to put a hitter in against his own pitcher, because if that particular hitter is in a great spot or could be in a great spot or is low owned because everybody's on a certain pitcher as well, you gain that leverage again because you're taking a hitter that is going up against your pitcher, and a lot of people don't want to do that, right? And I also talk about when you're stacking your teams in baseball, it's a lot of stacking, like hockey, where your pitcher's like your goalie if you're talking hockey, and then stacking your team or stacking your lines. But stacks usually are the ways that GPPs are won. They're usually not won by cash. Lineups are more just taking the best plays, right? So they may not be necessarily stacks. You might just have 1 or 2 guys from a team versus 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 in DK if you can do it. In FanDuel, you can only do 4. You can't do any more than 4 players in a stack. But anyway, so let's get into it. I also am going to keep Fantasy Cruncher up here as well. So if we just said, I told you I didn't mind Richards, but it was risky. But again, we're going up against the public here. So I have this in as Soka and Richards, right, in this crunch right here. So we go Soka, we go Richards, which is Soroka's by far my favorite pitcher today. Okay, catcher is usually a spot where you can't really, you're just kind of picking, right? There's not a lot of pitchers in most slates that are like just must plays. James McCann for Detroit. Is it McCann? Yeah, he's not even in here. When he goes up against the lefties, I believe it is, he's always money. Lock him in. But a lot of times, most times, you just pay down at catcher, right? Catcher's a spot where most catchers are not dominant. The only dominant catcher in baseball is, well, Grandal's good for Milwaukee, but Gary Sanchez, right? That's one of the only guys that's really dominant. So again, I told you guys I was going to like Cleveland bats, right? So I have Carlos Santana, Lindor, and then we have Lenny's Martin. And we could even possibly throw one more Cleveland guy in here. But right now we have 3. So my 3 guys I really am on are going to be Santana, at shortstop, Lindor. So we can use these as building blocks too, right? And then go Martin. So if you do that, if you have Soroka and Richards in right now and you do this, you just throwing Milando in there, probably the cheapest catcher at $2,700 today, that still leaves you at $4,425 for a second base, third, and 2 outfield, right? So we could go KC. I told you I was a fan. Anything I don't mind Tyler Ross today either. But we're obviously not going to put Ross in lines where we're going to have 3 KC bats in. So we'll go with the Richards, and that's why Cruncher crunched it this way, right? And then a couple Tiger bats in there as well. Getting top of the orders, Candelero and Castellanos. So we could just run with this and just kind of see where it goes. But who else we have in second base? Let's just kind of look here. So I don't mind Seattle bats, top of the order bats. Lefties against Carrasco as a righty because he's going to be popular. Because what did I talk about before too? Usually the highest priced pitcher. Yeah, I'll explain. Stack heavy on bats on it. Yeah, for sure. So going to the stacks, but like just 1 second. So like lefty bats against Carrasco would be a decent play too. I'll have at least one lineup today that has the lefty Seattle bats. And maybe one righty, like top of the order, like Mitch Haniger or somebody. So that'd be another lineup I will have at least one play. And remember, guys, every slate or every day I usually play around $10 to $15. I'm not a 150 lineup guy, but I do go into multi. Like this is 150 max entry. I'll put like probably at least 7 or 8 lineups minimal in this and go up against guys that are doing 150 lineups. I don't care. Right? I'm going to play my best in my best lines against the grain. So balls, what's up, guys? What's up, Danny and Grays, Cards and Toys? Just going over some DFS MLB today. I do a lot of DFS. I play a lot of DFS, so this is all tied into my channel as well. It's one thing I'm going to bring. Whoops. Let me go back to that crunch here. All right. So, stacking. He Balls want to know about stack, which is perfect. So I was kind of saying before, baseball is similar to hockey. If anybody knows any hockey play, hockey you stack like the lines. So, because you're looking in hockey, right? In hockey, you get points for hat tricks. You get points for assisting a goal. You get all those things. Just like in basketball, a point guard would get an assist for a guy who makes a bucket if he passed it to him, right? So in baseball, we want to stack. We want to go with a team, or we want to stack the bats of the strong team, we think. Like me, I think probably the best team bat stack today would be probably Cleveland against Mike Leake for Seattle. But I also don't mind going Seattle bats if they're lefty bats. And you primarily in baseball, unless a guy has got a really good history against a pitcher, you usually want to try to take the bats against, like if it's a righty pitcher, you want to go with lefty bats. If it's a lefty pitcher, you want to go against righty bats. But when you also stack this lineup of bats, if you look here, okay, so Lindor bats number 1, right? And it'll tell you where they're batting once the lineup gets put in FanDuel or DraftKings. But Lindor bats 1, right? Martin bats 2, Santana bats 3, right? These are all lefty bat. Well, Santana's a switch hitter, but these are all lefty batters going up against a right-handed pitcher. You want to stack them, yes, because that's exactly it, Balls. You hit it right on the head. So you're looking for Lindor to get on, to get a point for a single, a double, a triple, or he's walked, right? You're looking for Martin to do the same thing. You're looking for these two guys to get on base, and you're looking for Santana to hit it, and maybe even another guy get in there. And now if the third batter gets on too and the bases are loaded and Santana hits a grand slam, Santana's going to get the points for the home run. All those runs batted in, plus that, and you get the points for the runs for these guys. And you also get the points when these guys got on base, right? So right now, this stack, in theory, if that worked out that way, this stack could have, so you get 12 points in DK for a home run, and a couple points for a run and all that, depending on if they did singles, doubles. In theory, those 3 guys in baseball, if he hits a home run and knocks them all in one go-around, could get you like, 30 points, depending upon what they did, 30, 35 points, right? And now you have, your pitchers always are, if they're strong, if you pick the right pitchers, you're going to get anywhere from, in DK, they don't get pointed as high. You're probably looking at anywhere from a good game, like 18-20 to 30, 35-40, if it's like a 12K game with a win and all that. But again, remember guys, in the pitchers, we're not necessarily worried about wins. It's very seldom pitchers get W's, right? Because a pitcher could even play a good game. He could leave the game when they're losing, right? So even if they win, he doesn't get the win. The guy that came in gets a save or, whatever. Or they even end up losing. Okay. So, like I said, Indians, lefties would be my main stack today. And then we can sprinkle it in. We can go with some like KC guys. We could also stack the game. We could go Seattle bats, like I said. But this is just one lineup. I'm going to be playing multiple lineups. So remember, every GPP lineup I play differently. I may have a lot of the same players in it, but I'm going to switch at least 1 or 2 batters, and I may switch a pitcher, and the lineup might just be completely different. Yes, Balls, it is exactly similar to football, too, where you could stack the line with a quarterback, receiver, tight end. Quarterback's throwing touchdowns. He gets the points for the pass, the touchdown pass, and then the receiver or the tight end gets the exactly. Perfect. You got it, man. So that's why we're looking. And if you look at the top GPP winners, like when you go to contests and you look at all entries, you're going to see that the top stacks in baseball normally have a 3 or 4 man stack, and they may have like 4 and a 3, or a 4-4, or even a 5-3, which means 5 from one team, 3 from the other. A lot of times will come with a 3 or a 4 man stack from a team, and then I will do like one-offs. So I'll sprinkle like one-offs, So again, like Atlanta, their bats are very expensive, right? So it's hard to get all Atlanta's bats in and have good pitchers, because you either got to sacrifice one or the other. That's why I usually pay down a little bit, especially on my SP2, like quite a bit. Some players will go high on pitchers if they think like 10-2 and 9-6. Okay, so let's just do something here. I'm going to show you how much different this is. I'm going to spend a little time today. since we're in here. I'm just gonna fill in this one, and then I'm gonna open up a new one, and we're gonna kind of look at what we would be at. And obviously, if you pick batters that are batting 1, just because they're batting 1 doesn't make them a good play. It doesn't make them a great player in that game. But you are gonna get usually an extra at bat, right? At least by having them in there. So a lot of times crunchers in that will just throw them right in. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna look at it on that point. They're gonna put in the high end. Another guy, guys, I really like. I'll play just about every slate. He will make at least a couple of my lineups. If Jay Bruce is going up against a righty, being a lefty, remember I talked a lot about lefty against righty pitcher against lefty bats. You like to go opposite most of the time. If Jay Bruce is going up against a righty, he bats left, I will find him in. He's got 10 home runs, 18 RBI. Yeah, his batting average sucks because he's either a home run guy or he strikes out, right? So this is the guy you're looking for the home run, or maybe a 2 home run game. Okay? Well, let's get this locked in. So let's just do this. I'm going to go and open up another one here. This is early. I got to go 1 second here. Get into another one here. So let's just do this for an example here. So let's just take the highest end pitchers. So look at what that does to us. Look at what this does to us right now. When we take the highest price pitchers, 10-2 and 9-6. Look at that. The salary we have left. We have nothing. Let me go and crunch that. So let me go here. So this is what we come up with in a crunch for an optimizer playing the highest pitch bats. We're really, really taking a dump in our lineup for the bats. Yes, we got great pitchers, but I wouldn't say Darvish is in a great spot, and I wouldn't say Carrasco is in a great spot at all. Either one of them, right? So now you're stuck with Prado, Descalasco, Candelario, Rodriguez, Costello, Bryant, and Martin, which this isn't bad right here, right? And this isn't bad, and he's not the worst, but such a difference. And I get it, salary-wise, but just because of the highest-priced pitchers does not make them the best plays, right? So here's a look at what I crunched with Soraka and Ross. Remember I said I didn't mind Ross too? So we go here, Ross, and then we go Hicks, batting 6, which is good for catcher. We have those Cleveland bats I talked about I really loved today, the lefties especially. We can actually get Martinez in this stack. We're gonna get rid of Martin though. Martin's not gonna be in this one. We might still slide him in anyway. Let's just see. They got Acuna, Costello, and Bryant. So let's get Martin in here. So we have 1 through 4. And what you could also do, another good play too, where a lot of guys don't like to go, is like bottom of the order. But if you play because as the game goes along, 3rd, 4th inning, or 6th, 7th, 8th inning, whatever, playing the bottom, yeah, he is normally cheap, dude. That's one of my one-off guys I just love, right? So we can just let's throw Bruce in here. So it leaves us with 44. We have Martin. Now we have 1 through 4. We have Martin and we have 4,400. We could do still Acuna or Castellanos against Richards. We can go here. And then sometimes what I'll do is when I add a different guy here. Like I added Martin with my stack. So sometimes what I'll do is if I like this lineup, but I also like it doing Castellanos instead of Acuna, both, I'll put this in, and then I'll go and I'll add another entry, another dollar entry, right? It's just $1. That one player, could be a huge change, right? So then we can do this, and through our DraftKings, I know you guys know how to do this. You can go to import, select this, go here, and then we can just change Acuna. We can go to Castellanos. And don't be afraid to leave salary on the table. $100 or a couple $100, because usually the best lineup doesn't use all their salary, right? Salary is kind of a thing, that's what some players, they feel like they have to play everything. I've won some of my GPPs. I've won with leaving $300, $600, $700, in basketball, whatever. It doesn't matter what sport it is. You can leave money on the table. Don't be afraid to. You don't have to use all your salary, okay? That's just, it's there, and it's good to get close, and it's good to try to, but you might find that your best lineup isn't going to have that, right? So, and we could also switch it up, put Brian in there, and then I did this one with Carrasco. So let's build this one as well quick. So we got Carrasco, which I don't like, but we can have a lineup with him in there, right? One lineup, $1 doesn't hurt. Remember I said I play $10 to $15 usually on a day or a slate. I'll play some later slate tonight too. So again, Seattle, like I said, Darvish, I kind of like St. Louis a little bit, but more as one-offs, like the crunch shows me it likes. Like Carpenter's cheap, $3,600, a lefty against Darvish. That's a good one-off play today, right? Escalasso, Candelario, Rodriguez. So getting these Detroit bats, right? And then we can go Acuna, or we could switch it up. We do have Castellanos, Chris Bryant, right? And the nice thing about DraftKings, I do like a little more than FanDuel when it comes to baseball and stuff. It's basketball too, but some of these players have multiple position availability. So first outfield. Now, one thing nice about FanDuel is they have that utility spot. But with some of these players, you get really creative. Like you could probably get 3 first base if they're first base eligible. If you liked them, first base outfield, you could get 3 guys. You put 2 in your outfield and 1 in your first base if they're all eligible. Yeah, dude, balls, hit me up anytime, bro. You can ask me anything. You can hit me up on anything. Any of you guys can. Leave comments in my thing. Obviously, subscribe if you have not subscribed. I'm going to try to be more consistent and try to do this daily. I'll try to bring keep the cruncher up on screen as well with the split screen, so we get a little bit more, showing a little bit more and going over a little bit more. We might even dive into some FanDuel some days. It just kind of depends, But, guys, this is early slate, which starts at 2:05, I believe. It's 3:05 Eastern, 2:05, I believe. It might be 3:05. I get my time zones messed up. Yeah. And I use Fantasy Cruncher quite a bit. That's what this is. You can subscribe to it. You can do a monthly, whatever, and then you can build your own. You can put your own projections in. You can upload them to them. You can build your own player pools. So you can just lock in guys, see how I lock my pitchers and it changes. So let's say I go, let's say I do him. Let's just say we did Waka, right? So I can do this, and now it's going to crunch it with them and figure out close to salary. But see how this left $100 salary? And you can do 10 crunches. I could do 100 crunches. And it's just going to keep crunching. It's going to keep changing lineups. Look at this stack. That's got 5. I might even actually put that one in there. I really like Cleveland. So I might throw this one in too. Not that I'm the hugest fan of Waka today either, but who cares? It's a buck, right?
Anything can happen with anybody. It's baseball. That's how this goes, guys. That's why we love it so much. Martinez, Lindor, Acuna, Castellanos, and Martin.
Home run for us.
Who hit home run? Huh? Mitch Garver? Yeah, Garver just hit a home run. Let's go. Let's go, let's go, let's go. All right, guys, I think that ends it for now. We'll probably be back tomorrow morning or tomorrow early afternoon going over tomorrow's slate. I'm not even sure what it's at. I haven't even looked at it yet. But I wish all you guys well. Again, if you guys have any questions, you can also find me on Twitter at Defness45. I actually have to update my header up here. Yeah, wish you guys all luck. If you guys haven't got into DFS yet and you can play and you're eligible in your state, I'd strongly suggest you at least try it. Again, you don't have to play hundreds of dollars a day. I don't advise you doing that. I'd say play $2, $5, $10 a day. Just get a couple different lineups in and get yourself a chance at winning some big money. I've done very well for myself. If I pull up a Roto Grinders rankings in flyweight, which is what I'd consider myself, which is what I play heavy on, I'm in the top, I think, 13% overall. So I'm not in overall, the main, because I don't play 150 lineups. I don't play $100, $300, $1,000 a day. I play $10 to $15 a day. So they classify me as a lightweight when it comes to DFS play, but I rank up there. So I do know what I'm doing, and again, GPP, there really isn't a bad play, to be honest. It's you going, follow your gut too. If you're building a lineup and you look at a guy and you just have that gut feeling, like even if it doesn't seem like the best spot, do it, or at least build one lineup with it, run with it, and then maybe do a lineup against opposite of that. I think you'll surprise yourself. Your gut instinct usually isn't off or isn't off by much. So do it. It's won me some good money. It's got me some decent bank over time. So with that being said, again, sorry, I'm out, guys. Have a good weekend. Spend some time with your family, friends. And I'm out. Peace.
Did you shot Blanco?